Hi, this is Deanie Pellegrinin, once again joining you with a wonderful guest we have here in Tryon, North Carolina, and through the courtesy of the Tryon Daily Bulletin, we are introducing you to some of the people who are, I would say, the movers and the shakers in Polk County. And today we have Ken Shull, who is the CEO, administrator of the St. Luke's Hospital. Is that the correct title?
Yes, it is.
Good deal. We always like to get the titles right. But the most important thing, titles aside, are the exciting things going on here in St. Luke's territory.
We're real pleased with what's going on here. We've had a lot of exciting things. We have a good hospital. We're a good community hospital that takes care of the needs of the people in our community with a real emphasis in orthopedics. And we do some amazing things for our small hospital. We do about 200 total knee and hip replacements a year, which is a large number for a very small hospital.
I told you I'd interrupt you occasionally, so that's what I'm doing. You're talking about, the needs for orthopedics. A lot of the larger hospitals, I've found that some of their people are being sent here to St. Luke's for such thing. We always think about going to a larger hospital, a larger city for something major. But we have it right here in a population of, I don't know, what is the population of Polk County? About
20,000, and yes, we do. We get people from Florida. We actually had somebody from Hungary, somebody from the island of St. Thomas and Chicago, and from West Columbia, South Carolina, where I used to live. We've had a number of people come up here. And so people do seek us out because you're very much an individual person here. We have one surgeon that's doing a wonderful job, one surgical team, and you get treated like you are the most important person in the world because you are at that point. And so the personalized attention is something that we can do in a small hospital. And we have a real superstar doctor. Dr. Rosenberg is just fantastic. He stays on the leading edge. He's helped develop new procedures. And he has a great patient rapport.
You had a former coach. I think he may be still coaching somebody from one of the places I lived for about 27 years, Coach Weiss from Cincinnati.
We sure did. And he lives down in South Carolina now. And he came up here for his procedures. So we've had quite a few famous people that we're real proud of, and he's allowed us to use his name. So
I think he made and it was public, I'm not giving away secrets, but he had been to a larger facility, and that could be anywhere in the United States. And he went to a larger facility, but he said, I was just a number on a page. And he said, I couldn't get anyone to answer question. He heard about Dr. Rosenberg, and I think I call him your poster boy.
He certainly is. He has good results and a good rapport with the doctor. And it's also important when you're having a procedure that you understand what's going on and understand what you need to put into it. And that you have to have that time. You have to have that rapport. You have to have your questions answered so you understand it. One thing we do here is have a joint camp. So before you go through the procedure, you come in and you meet with Dr. Rosenberg's nurse navigator, you meet with our physical therapists, you meet with the anesthesia people, you meet with people you see after surgery. So you are totally prepared for what's ahead for you, both for the procedure and then what happens after the procedure, and people are much more comfortable and they'll be more compliant with what we request because they've had a chance to ask and understand why it's so important.
It's almost like going in the Army. You get basic training.
That's exactly right. Get you prepared for the hard work that you'll have to do ahead of time.
To back up just a little bit, we'll continue on with what you're doing here because you have a big expansion program that you might want to mention. I know you want to mention. But you came from where?
I came immediately from Highlands, North Carolina. I was up there for about 4 years. And I've been in the two Carolinas since 1975. And I've gone to different hospitals in both North and South Carolina.
Can't hold a job, can you?
I sure can't. I sure can't. I kept looking until I found a place I really wanted to end up and stay and retire.
Well, the thing is, people talk about coming here and retiring, but they come here and they live, but they don't retire from living.
That's exactly right. I just had lunch with a volunteer who is 88 years old, and still we see him weekly. Talked to another volunteer right after lunch, and he did Meals on Wheels this morning, and he's with us this afternoon. And the volunteerism in this community is phenomenal, and people don't retire. And the arts is a wonderful area for us too, and people are very active in that. So.
Did you start out to be in the hospital business, or did you have other ambitions? I always like to know what people maybe wanted to be and turned out to be.
I had two goals or two thoughts. One, I wanted to be a pilot, and the others I thought about being a physician. Freshman chemistry took physician out of the picture, and my height of 6'5" and sitting height took me out of the cockpit of a pilot way back when. And so at that point, I knew I wanted to be in healthcare, and so I've been in hospital administration my entire career.
Well, we're glad you're here. And did you you came from a larger area, of course, but you have family?
Sure do. I have a wife, 2 kids, 5 grandchildren.
Oh, boy, you do have a family. Was there any hesitation about moving here to a smaller area than you had been in with children? Maybe they're all out of school now, but that's one of the considerations I think a lot of people have to take in.
No concern at all. This was a plus for here. Now, our kids were out of the house by that time, but we have been in the 2 Carolinas since 1975. We knew we wanted to be in the Carolinas. We knew we wanted to be in the western part of the Carolinas, preferably North Carolina, and here we are in the foothills. It's got the advantages of being close to the mountains, but it's not isolated and remote like some places are. The people here are so friendly and not pretentious, and there's some quite accomplished people in our area.
I have a bunch of them lined up to be on this program, show, interview, whatever you want to call it, but authors and artists, and I won't divulge all of them just yet, but we have some great surprises. I mean, that's the reason I started going around and asking, would you like to be interviewed and blah, blah, because we want the world to know about this. We're a dot on the map, but we're also the crossroads of the world.
We certainly are, and it's a great place to be, and we really enjoy it. My wife and I both enjoy it here. My wife was doing she's a retired high school guidance counselor, and she was going back to South Carolina to help fill in for a while. And the last place we lived, she really liked doing that. But once she got here, she found she was leaving too much behind to do that very often. She didn't want to leave Tryon and Polk County to go do that.
Well, our school system here is another, not only our medical facilities, but our school system. They're turning out some great future scientists and even agronomy, agriculture, and so forth. They have their own farm here at the high school, and they rank very high, as I understand it. They rank very high in the nation in the educational system.
They do, and I think, again, that's another case where being too big, you can get lost and not have the opportunity to be involved with activities in our school is good. It's big enough to do the things they need to do, but small enough where everybody can take advantage of it.
Okay, we've covered kind of a scope. I hope maybe we can come back and do this again with you as things progress on this expansion program. Would you like to address that?
I certainly would. We're the first of 2 phases, we hope, of our replacing our building. Our building's 40 years old. And so we're going to build a 15,000 square foot addition. And since one of our leading areas and areas we need a little help with is the orthopedics, so we'll be putting a 6-bed addition. It'll be 15,000 square feet, and also our rehab services. And we'll be doing, we are what I call state-of-the-art 1972 rooms. We have modern state-of-the-art care, but the rooms are smaller, so they're about 113 and a half square feet.
What's your patient population now?
Today we have 3 empty beds in the whole facility.
No, I mean how many? Full house.
We have 35 total patients, including 10 psychiatric beds. So today we have all 25 of our medical surgical beds are full, and 7 of our 10 psychiatric beds are full today.
And this will give you, when you get your expansion, what would be your population?
It'll still be the same number because of some Medicare laws keep us at 25 medical surgical beds.
Has this been I'm digressing here, but I'm famous for that. The new federal laws that are being enacted, is this a handicap to people in the medical profession today?
The challenge, whether we had what's known as Obamacare now,
or others, yeah.
or if we'd had the Republican plan, they're both going to cut about $730 billion out of health care. So hospitals realized the trajectory we were on with our costs was not sustainable. So we were going to have challenges. Hospitals are trying to cut 20% of their costs out of their structure in the next 3 years.
Well, then go to Washington and show them how to cut the national debt.
They want to do it on our backs.
Do you have, you are the head honcho, you're the CEO. You have a board that
Yes.
you're responsible to, right?
Yes, I do. We have a 15-member board. We're an unusual hospital that we're managed by a large corporation, but we're owned locally. So our board is 15 people that live in our local community that only care about our community, but we have an almost $8 billion company. We have those resources that can help us manage things and bring other services to us. They won't back us up financially. So we have the best of all worlds. We are local ownership that only cares about Polk County and Landrum, South Carolina, and this area, but with the resources of a large company.
that sounds kind of neat.
It is. It's wonderful for us, and it's one reason we've made some change. The last 3 years, we've actually made a small profit after years of not making a profit. And part of this is because of some of the systems that they put in, and part of it's the discipline we need to do things.
Get a plug in here. One of the first things I did after moving here, 4 years, April Fool's Day, and I joined the auxiliary, St. Luke's Auxiliary, and I work at the thrift shop down on the main street in town. The main street is Trade Street, right? I'm still getting streets straightened. Anyway, but as I understood when I first joined, they have contributed $1 million for the hospital to use at your own discretion. How does this work?
It's wonderful. It's been years and years. Matter of fact, the land we're on right now is owned by the county, but the auxiliary gave it to the county so that we could put the building on it, so they could help us out with the financing back in the 60s. And so we've had extensive help from the auxiliary every year since then. They help us with some things that may be in our budget, may be things we can't put in our budget, we can help with, from furnishings and TVs and patient comfort items, and it's been a wonderful
I think that it wasn't some of the orthopedic equipment, wasn't that one that we call it the wish list?
Yes, that's right. And also what we call OmniCell, which is a medication dispensing system, which helps maintain the safety of the medication system and also the security of it, which is very
security. You mean it's under lock and key? Is that what you're...
It is under lock and key and computer, and so you put your number in. We know who took what drug, who got what drug, and item by item, dose by dose. So it's very important for the safety, so the right patient gets it, and also so we know that we don't have some narcotics turning up missing.
Well, you must do that now because they're all around us, aren't they?
Well, they certainly are.
Of course, Sheriff Hill is right on their backs. Well, we have a big sale going on at the thrift shop right now, but we're raising a lot of money, I know, and you always feel real good when I think when you live in a community, give something of yourself. It may not be anything except some of your hours. It may be a talent you have or whatever. But I think it's great that people are sharing those talents here. And I have a lot of real interesting people that are among your volunteers. How many, do you have any idea how many there are now?
There have been about 300 at some points, volunteers, people with very different interests and backgrounds. And so we have different jobs and areas that they can do it. This is one of the most extensive uses of volunteers that I've seen in my career for hospitals, and using them in the number of people that want to do it and the number of different type of jobs.
Well, they put me to steaming. Steam and Deanie, they call me. I was helped form what they call the Gray Ladies in Middletown, New York, way back in the late 40s and early 50s. But we just delivered mail and flowers and things of that sort. But there was nothing compared to the many various activities that the volunteers are called on to do here at the hospital as well as in the thrift shop.
That's right. Thrift shop, gift shop, couriers. We still do the delivering papers and Coke and things like that.
And drive the golf carts.
We have Cardiac Hill out front, which is not a big hill unless you're trying to walk it some days, and so the golf cart's a big help. I
had to walk it today. They were taking someone up to the main entrance. I thought, well, that someone probably needs it more than I do. I'm only 91 years old, so I didn't need it yet. But anyway, it has been a great fun to be with this organization, the auxiliary, and. Is there anything else that you'd like on this particular segment of our talk that you would like to mention about the hospital? I know you get patients from all around. We get customers. Usually when I'm also a bag lady. That doesn't sound nearly as nice as steam lady. But I usually say, are y'all local or from Polk County? I would say some days there are as many as 75% of the people from out of the county. They come from, and they sometimes are here for the weekend or come to spend the night or whatever, and just browse around. And you think, what do they come for? But they enjoy the shops and all that. And a lot of people are looking for a place to settle. And they drive around and they like what they see. And I think probably one of the two top things they're looking for, from what I understand, talked to 2 or 3 families that have just recently decided to move here with children. And it was the medical facilities and the school facilities. Yes,
and that's what typically the people look for. Then they look for churches after that. But they want to make sure those 2 needs are met, especially a retirement community, because about 75% of our patients are on Medicare. And a retirement community needs a hospital that's worried about and concerned to try to meet their needs. I had a couple that was visiting Tryon from Charleston, South Carolina, and we were driving by, and the lady had fallen in the street. And so another gentleman and I picked her up and put her there, and her ankle was at an angle it should not be.
You saw this happen, you say?
Well, I helped pick the lady up.
Oh, you're out picking up customers off the street.
I did not trip her. And so, trying to figure out what to do, I said, I think it's time to call 911, but you need to know my conflict of interest. and unfortunately, they were just beginning their weekend trip. But the way they were treated by people there, and by the way the EMS went out of their way, making sure he got food, because the non-patient husband was a diabetic, and all this, that they actually enjoyed the stay in spite of her having to have surgery. It was bad enough for surgery and everything else, and a warm spot on their heart. But what a way to welcome them to Tryon. But they had a positive experience because of that, and have been back.
Right. Well, and who knows? They may decide to move here, and who knows what they might contribute to the community. Also, you never know when you help someone how it's going to come back to you.
And ironically, they actually sent a check when they got back and said, "Not much, but it's what we can do, and thank you so much for the welcome and what you did for us." And it's a unique place. It's a wonderful place, and they felt that too.
It is unique, and I think that's in a good way.
Yes, very much so. And it's a place we sought out and enjoy.
Okay. Is there anything before we get to sit here and chat all day with this beautiful view you have, which is going to be taken away from you, I understand.
It is, but that's the price of progress to have that new building out there. One other quick thing I'd say is our county is a small county, and we're actually a big economic driver as well. We're one of the largest employers in the county. The county employees, the school system, and the hospital are the top 3 employers, all about the same number of employees for our county. And so we're an economic driver as well as a much-needed service that is really benefiting from great community support.
How many employees?
We have about 300 employees that work some part-time, so we have about 230 full-time.
And physicians on staff?
There's about 17 that are here sometimes, and we have emergency department doctors. We have a hospitalist in the hospital at all times. Well, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week.
You threw a word at me.
Okay.
No, what was that word?
Now that doctors...
No, the word.
Now that doctors are more difficult to make any money, they will stay in their offices and admit you to the patient, and you'll be turned over to a hospitalist. So all of our inpatients that are here for medical reasons, not surgical, are actually under the care of our hospitalist that's here. So they are a hospital specialists, and they're here from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day, 7 days a week.
And I've heard some great things about that, and about my daughter and her husband had a guest from Ohio. He was ill when he got off the plane, and they had to bring him to emergency, I think, 3 o'clock in the morning. And they said it was, such great care. And I've heard so much about the care, the personal care, and the warmth that they get when they come to the hospital. I mean, a hospital is the last place you want to go, but sometimes it's the first place you need to go.
Right. And we pride ourselves on trying to give exceptional care close to home, is our little tagline. And we've got some really good people that are really committed to doing that. And that's the secret, is good people that really care and are sorry that people are here for the need, but that's why we want to make it as good an experience as possible.
Yeah. Well, there's a need for a hospital, wherever you live, and it's nice to have one close to home, as you say. And the thing about living in Tryon, working here or just living here or whatever you're doing here, we don't care, just come here. And the thing about it, you are a small town, you have all the advantages. We have arts that you don't get in a lot of big cities, and you have to drive and fight the mobs and so forth. We have art, we have the live theater as well as the visual arts. We have all sorts of music. We have the Thermal College with all sorts of activities there. And we have all these things going on. And yet, if you have an emergency for need of a larger facility, we're within a short distance. I know I had to take a 25-minute drive to have some recent work done that was sent from here. And so it's convenient. You miss all that hubbub you get in larger cities, and we both lived in larger cities, and you know what it's like when you want to go out for the evening and you have to fight traffic, find a place to park. And the Arts Center here is enlarging, so we're growing, and we'd like for you to be a part of it. If you've got a business you want to set up, here's a place for it. We have all sorts of facilities available. The old hospital facility, I understand, is still sitting up there on the hill.
Yes, it is, and available, and it's a good community, and and you'll be doing business with friends too. That's an advantage when they come in here, is we take care of friends here that come into the hospital. And the other merchants and people are welcoming of other people coming in. They're encouraging people to come in. So it's a place that people are wanted, and we'd love having new folks come in.
Well, I don't know whether they want me or not, but I'm here to stay. I'm going to be here along with Ken Shull, and we'll be back visiting with him after they get some of this work finished here. Maybe we'll be back before that. But if you have something you want to talk about, Mr. Shull, we'd certainly like for you to give us a call, and we'll talk some more.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your interest in our hospital and you being with me today.
I'm glad it's here. I hope I don't have to use it, but I'm glad it's here. And we'll have another interesting guest for you next time. So keep watching on the web page for the. I have to get this straight because back in Gallup Lease we had a daily Tribune. Mm-hmm. And now we have the Tryon Daily Bulletin. And Betty Ramsey and I are working to get this show on the road, and we hope you'll join us because we have some really interesting guests all along the way. We hope you'll join us. So until the next time, we'll say, remember, Tryon, it's a dot on a map, but it's a crossroads of the world. Have a good day.